Hi everyone, it's Yummy and Jasmine, co-founders and co-hosts of The Spill, and welcome to season 2.
Welcome to The Spill, where we get to share the inspiring stories from Black women founders. Today's episode features a Black-owned wine brand, as well as us discussing with the incredible Dozie Oheri from Choose to Do Inc., a nonprofit that focuses on the physical and mental benefits of positive thinking for children. So as we're about to get into this episode, we are actually drinking a Black-owned wine brand. Okay, this wine is called
Be Divine, and it's
Ooh.
a honey wine, which is based off of Tetch, which is an Ethiopian honey wine. So,
Absolutely, and it's delicious.
Yeah, it's not too sweet, but it's a little bit sweet.
Cheers! Cheers to you, Dozie.
Cheers.
What are you drinking? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking cheap wine. It is. It's Apothic Crush.
I love that brand.
Yeah, red blend.
That's my go-to price range, like under $20, but over the $5,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's right there.
It's it's not fancy, but it could be if we wanted to,
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So, Dozie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your company, your nonprofit, and how you got started?
So first of all, I want to thank you ladies for having me. I appreciate the platform. You're welcome. So my name is Dozie Oheri, and I am the founder and CEO of Choose to Do Inc. And Choose to Do Inc. is a nonprofit that I started in 2016. And the purpose of it is to mentor underprivileged youth, ages 9 to 19 years old. And our mission is to focus on the physical and mental benefits of positive thinking. So we're essentially a mental health and wellness organization for kids.
I love that.
Yeah. We're just
we love it. I also teach meditation, so I'm also in the wellness industry, and the fact that you've dedicated your mission and your brand towards helping those that are young, especially at that impressionable age, I just think that's amazing. And I'm curious what made you want to work with that age range? Because usually we think of wellness and people think of people a little bit older, but why with help kids?
Well, starting out, my mindset was I'm going to help everybody. It doesn't matter what age range you are. And then as I got into my work, I started realizing that kids need this, as well. And it's kind of hard when you have multiple focuses. And so I decided to work with children specifically because that's a demographic that I'm good with. I've worked with kids professionally in majority of my life. I've been a nanny for some time. And before that, I was a teacher's assistant. I worked as a Sunday school teacher. I've worked, summer school, I've done it all, So that's just my base, and that's the group that I'm more comfortable with teaching. But also, I know that they don't have this kind of information. They aren't privy to discussions about their mental health. And I did my own case studies when I was working as a nanny, where I would come into a home and I would try different techniques and different tactics to see how the children's behavior changed. And once I started doing that, I noticed that parents can only do so much, the school system can only do so much, the kids, they need, no matter where it comes from, they just need an opportunity to have these discussions and have an opportunity to, work on their mental health, so that's the reason why I decided to work with kids. I've been in therapy for a couple of years myself, so working on my self-worth and my self-esteem is something that has been recurring for me throughout my life. Mm-hmm. And I take what I've learned from therapy, what I get from therapy, and I kind of, make it accessible for kids.
Mhm.
And I also come from an immigrant family. My parents are Nigerian, and they had me and my siblings here in America. So I mean, apart from my upbringing and what I grew up with, being raised without having the opportunity or having those discussions about my mental state, my parents' mental state, or just like emotional conversations, those things were considered a luxury, but as I got older, I recognized like that those are things that you want kids to learn to be comfortable with growing up so that when they get to adulthood, they can be able to maneuver certain situations, and you have a stronger foundation, when you go into adulthood. So that's the whole idea behind it.
Wow, I am honestly, I don't know why I'm so touched by this because I'm an adult now.
There's always there's always a little kid inside you, always.
Yes.
It never go away.
Yeah.
I know growing up, I would have loved, I mean, technically, so I come from a divorced parent home. And at one point during the divorce, my parents did include me in, or they did put me in counseling, if that makes sense. I almost feel like it might have been a little too early because I don't even think as a child I was aware of how I would be affected, what was truly affecting me. Everything happened so fast, and so I was not truly like aware of how things affected me. It wasn't until I became like a teenager that I really started to see the effects of the divorce on me. And I don't know about kids younger than the teenage because they probably are more than willing to go to counseling. They're like, okay, do I get a snack? But but like for someone who is like uh going through that and they're going through all these hormones and they're going through all these changes, or they've already went through the changes and if they don't see the effects of it until later. I definitely think that it's something that's needed.
You've impacted over 250 kids in your time in your 4 years from your website. So I'm curious, working with so many different kids, have you noticed any major themes that a lot of them have challenges with, or yeah, like any themes that you've noticed, anything that is sort of like the biggest thing that they are working on?
Yeah, overall self-esteem.
Yeah.
Um, especially especially coming in as a stranger.
Mhm.
You wouldn't expect the kids to open up to you. That's like the first. I think that's what keeps a lot of educators and adults, from discussing with children, is because they feel like the kids aren't going to be understanding or they're not going to be as receptive. But
Mhm.
that part is so far from the truth. Like it is a skill set when walking into a child's life, and wanting them to open up to you, but they want connection, they want relationship. I mean, I think that's the foundation of being a human, is like you want to feel connected to somebody. You want to feel, that you're building a healthy relationship with somebody. You just don't know how to do it most of the times. And we have a spa day class for the kids. So the boys have their own spa day and the girls have their own spa day.
Oh,
And this particular class, yes,
self-care. That's self-care for kids.
yes, yes, and it's not just for the girls that get manicures, but it's more so than manicures. They do exercises to help them summarize what they've learned from our program, and on top of that, they get manicures. And so the boys, they get like extracurricular stuff. So they get like an artist will come in to help them paint self-portraits. They also get exercises that they get to talk about and do with each other. And then they get food. It's just like a really chill, and it's more so about the ambiance and the environment for them. We had one class a few years ago where this actually was a location where the girls had come. It was a foster care residential facility, but it was a foster home for girls. And so these kids come from troubled past, all of them. They've had to have something extreme happen to them in order for them to be placed in this location. So we had one kid, and she was a Black female, and she went through the entire program, and she had spa day that day. And we asked them to write down, what did they learn about themselves? What do they get from this program? And so she talked about her self-esteem and self-worth and all that, and the stuff that we expect them to talk about because we teach you that. But then she also said that she had never seen Black women working together, because on top of our programs, we have volunteers come out to mentor as mentors, and we pack each program, especially with Spa Day. We need a lot of support for Spa Day, so we have a lot of volunteers come out, and typically Black women, that's a demographic that volunteers. And so we're pushing for more demographics, but typically Black women that's the number one demographic that we have that support us.
That feels great.
It is. I mean, it's awesome. We will take all women, Black women particularly, because we need self-care too, and that's another whole other story, on top of what the girls are going through themselves. But the volunteers, they also come and they learn things about themselves as well. So, long story short, this girl saw that there were a lot of Black women there and were supporting them, and she had never seen that in her entire life. And she was in middle school, probably in high school. For me, like when she said it out loud, like all of the volunteers, we were shocked to hear that. But then some other volunteers were like, they had experienced that too. Some of the adults had experienced that in their lives. So it's a generational thing, So that was something that shocked me, and it's a reoccurring theme as well. Is that these kids, there's different experiences that they have, but they all kind of have like that same kind of experience in one way or another.
I'm sorry, I don't understand why I'm like so touched right now. Man.
Because you can relate.
Yes, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't know if I had never seen Black women work together when I was younger. I did see it. But even though I saw it, I still relate to that young girl, because there was still cattiness. There was still, tensions between women over the silliest things that we didn't know much about at the time, but we saw it. And so, again, even though I saw women work together, we working together, you know what I'm saying? But at that age, that's where you begin to see, like, oh, and then it makes you think, are women supposed to be gay? Are we supposed to be like each other? Okay, I'm going to do it to my friends. I'm going to do it to I'm going to do it to some strangers. I'm going to find a reason to not like her. And then I'm just gonna, and I'm gonna think that it's cute because somebody else thinks it's cute and somebody else thinks it's funny. But in reality, like, that is major.
Yeah.
That not one female figure in her life she saw
that collaboration. Yeah, and I can relate to it in the sense that, when I went to high school, I went to predominantly white high school, and I really didn't see a lot of Black women. So outside of the family, to see Black women together in an organization, supporting other young Black girls that weren't just related by blood or through culture, I think that's also a really great thing to see, and it gives you an idea that, you can build these types of connections, like the connections that we have. So, yeah. I also volunteered at this one event that was helping high school aged girls, and one of the Black women girls, she stood up and she said she didn't know, like one of the volunteers was like a corporate woman, and she was paired up with her. She was like, oh, I didn't know like Black women could have this type of job, like this corporate, like professional, like job. And she was like, yeah, I just never seen it before. So I think it's really important. What you see is what you believe to be a possibility and an option. And if you don't see it, you might not realize it's an option for you. So
representation definitely matters. I don't know if it matters for every child, but to some extent it does. Seeing themselves, being able to do certain things matters, especially when you have children who grow up in environments where all they see is negativity and all they see is tension and fighting and just emotions that invoke just so much.
Yeah,
I think
it's not positive.
Right, and that also contribute to low self-esteem.
I want to hear a little bit more about the activities that you do with the kids and with the volunteers. Like, for example, for self-esteem, what kinds of things do you do? Because, you guys are healing. We're also working on our healing. We want to learn, what do you do with the kids? What gets them engaged? What helps them grow and heal? If you could share one or two activities that you like.
Yeah, sure. We have a program that we run most often called Breaking the Cycle. And it's made up of 5 classes, and it promotes self-love and self-esteem and leadership among boys and girls 9 to 19 years old. And so with each class, we have a topic that we have activities centered around and discussions centered around. So the first class we talk about, and the topics kind of rotate. So even though we have 5 classes and 5 different topics, they kind of rotate based on what's, the need of the location. But for the most part, the topics themselves stay the same. So the first one is positive self-talk. And with that for me is the most impactful activity, because when you get a group of kids together that necessarily don't hang out together, they don't want to talk to each other. Somebody has probably bullied somebody in the group. Somebody has said something negative about somebody else in the group, especially now that they have social media and they can bully each other online. So with our positive self-talk activity, the kids are forced to give each other a compliment, right? But then when they do that, they get to see all the compliments from everybody and recognize that there are good things about themselves. So that's the whole idea of the activity, is even though somebody gives you a compliment, that's one part of it, but then for them to do that must mean that there's something worthy about yourself for them to do that.
We love to try that activity. I mean, we love each other, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I still want to try this activity because I feel like even as an adult, this could be transformational. Even if you don't get to share it with the next person, it would be more beneficial if you could. But even if you don't get to share with the next person, if you could at least go in your journal, go in somewhere and write down somebody you're having a conflict with or somebody that you are having an issue with, if you could write down maybe at least 2 or 3 things that you love or like about that person, or a compliment even. I'm pretty sure you're going to see, you know what, I was tripping. I don't really not like them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go get a pen.
So we're going to do it.
We're going to do it?
Activity, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to do a positive self-talk activity. So each one of us has 2 Post-its, and we're going to write a compliment,
yes,
for each of the other 2 people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not for yourself. You skip yourself. Yes. You do not. That's always like 2 hours. They're like, what? I don't do. It's like, no, because we're going to give you the compliment. Jeez, people. So I'm going to temporarily stick your Post-it on the camera like this. Okay.
Okay.
Normally it would be like on the body somewhere,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
you,
Okay, Dozie, you have such a positive and comforting energy that allows people to slow down and open up in a fun way. You have glowing skin, and I love your hair color.
oh, thank you. That was going on my cheek.
there you go.
This is so much fun. Oh my goodness.
Really nice.
My turn. And I feel kind of silly because now mine was nowhere near as deep.
It's okay.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay. They're compliments. That's all that matters.
Okay. All right. Dozie, I absolutely love your skin. It's so beautiful.
Aww.
Level up on whatever your skincare is. Right. Next episode, we're going to talk about your skincare.
Right. Tip, darling. Need the tip.
Oh, thank you. There really is no regimen. It's just showering and It's very basic. I'll tell you that. It's very basic.
Showering is good. Good,
Yeah.
good stuff.
Thank you. Here we go. So, Yemi, I love your voice. It's very comforting. You have a soft and reassuring and kind tone.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then I love your hair. It's super curly, bouncy, and long.
Oh, thank you.
That's for you. Those are my two.
Oh. Okay. All right. So I too said, Mimi, I love your hair, but more importantly, I absolutely envy and love your organizational skills and habits.
Oh, thank you.
I wish I had that.
Thank you.
I wish I had that in me.
It's a skill.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Jasmine, you are so kind and supportive. Even when I was down today, you wanted to see how to support me, and I felt very seen.
Oh.
I love the volume of your hair. I just love
Yes. And you would do this all. I was like, oh, she's like just like ruffling it.
and your lip color.
Yes. Oh, that was so good. You got to give her a compliment. You got to put it on her.
I won't ruin
It
the
probably won't
volume.
stick to my face because I'm a little oily right now.
No, it never sticks to anyone's face. It's just fun putting
Oh,
it.
I didn't put yours to you.
You put.
Boom.
Yay!
Yeah.
Oh, you guys did so well.
Wow.
Okay, energy is amazing.
Yay.
You are funny and you have this high energy about you. Like, I think it's very attractive. So I put that on there.
Oh, we lost your audio a little bit.
I think I muted myself. My bad. All right.
I was like, not more tech issue.
I was like, maybe it's my touch. I think I touched my screen and then I muted it. Yep, I did. So
Okay.
my bad. And my last one is I also love your hair. It's very bouncy and long. And I know you have like this, I'm assuming it's like 4C texture, like it's
girl, I don't know what this is, okay? In here, it definitely looks like 4C, okay? Because one thing about my hair is I probably don't moisturize it enough so it looks dry. But when my hair is moisturized, it is
this
not
is luscious.
Thank you. But it don't be this big. That's the key to my hair. I have to have a little dryness, even though it's not the healthiest thing for everybody. I have to have a little dryness to have volume.
Well, it's beautiful, and I wanted to point that out as well.
Thank you.
So that completes the activity, guys.
Yay! Thank you.
You did so well. So what comes from it is the kind of questions the kind of discussions that we were just having about, and even like feeling kind of uncomfortable, or about receiving the compliment. That's a big one. Kind of having a difficult time with coming up with what to say. That's another one too. And so that's the part where me as the facilitator and the volunteers, we not coerce, that's a bad word to use, but we encourage the kids to think outside the box and give them a different perspective on how they can, what it comes down to is like, you want to receive compliments. You want to feel good. I'm sure all of us, we feel like it's made our day, like I feel great now, and so we want the kids to have that same feeling when they leave the program, when they leave the classroom and go out into the world and be affirmed in who they are, So this is one way for them to do that. As most people want to come in because they want to give back, but then you leave really recognizing that you're learning about yourself as well. And so, I mean, it's kind of like, I feel like I'm manipulating you to get you in the door, like you're helping us out. Yay, give it back. But it's healing for you too.
Yeah.
And we've had even like when we go into a location, they have to have staff there that helps us to watch the kids. So they have to have their own staff. And so their staff also participates in our activities. And their staff has also given us feedback about healing and learning about themselves. And so that tells me that this is not just also for adults. And they're doing the same activities that the kids are doing.
Okay.
It's no different. We ask that our volunteers participate. So if you're going to volunteer, you don't stand on the sidelines. You're in the trenches with us. You're assisting every single child. It's very hands-on. I mean, we become kids ourselves. Like, it's a really cool and fun environment that we create. So it's not difficult to not open up. Like, it make it very easy for people to want to share and talk and participate. The volunteers come in as mentors and they leave as they leave as part of the kid. I mean, as kids, because you're talking to the inner child. Yeah. And that child will show up during our activities.
Where can people reach you?
Me personally, they can go to our website at www.choosetodoinc.org. And then also on all social media platforms. We typically use Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And that's all at Choose to Do Inc. All right, that's our handle for all our social media platforms.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dozie.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to add? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, actually, we have an online store as well. And we have a coupon for your viewers, for your audience. And it's I think it's the Spill 10 for 10% off, a discount off of any item in our store.
Oh, awesome. All lowercase or uppercase?
I don't think the caption matters.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So the Spill 10 for 10% off at their store. We'll include the links below. And that's amazing. I'd love to see what you guys have in your store.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. That's how we raise funds. That's the one way that we raise funds for the organization.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Dozie. This is so much fun. Love this activity.
Absolutely.
We hope everyone does this activity with their friends, family. This seems like a perfect
cool,
Thanksgiving thing.
Thanksgiving, Christmas,
Yes.
Post-it notes, a pen or a color pencil.
Yes. Crayons.
Go around and do this activity because it's amazing and it's positive. And hey, I feel now closer.
Yay! It's a good icebreaker as well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, ladies, for having me on your. As part of your audience now, and this opportunity was great to meet you guys. You guys have been awesome throughout it, and I hope I see you guys some more.
You will.
You definitely will.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. We had so much fun. To connect with us further, you can find us at Instagram, Facebook, and now YouTube. We also encourage you to connect more with Choose to Do Inc. to find out more information about their organization, volunteer opportunities, donating, or shopping their store. Speaking of which, don't forget to use discount code TheSpill10 to get 10% off any item in their store.